Most musicians think that a booking agent's job is to find them gigs. It's not. Their job is to fill the gigs that already exist. And whether or not you get one of those gigs depends on how useful you are to them. So before you hand over a cut of your income, let's break down what a booking agent actually does, how they get paid, the pros and the cons, and how to know if you even need one. So my name's Alex and I've been playing music full-time professionally in Sydney for the last 10 years. I've played well over 1,500 gigs in that time. And a lot of those gigs have been booked through booking agents and a lot by myself. So I've got a lot of experience on both ends of booking direct to venue by myself and booking through booking agents. A booking agent's job isn't to make you famous. They're not going to go out to bat for you to tell everyone that you're the next Ed Sheeran. Their whole role is connecting the gigs that already exist with the acts that can fill them. They're the middleman between the artist and whoever's paying, be it a venue or an event planner or just a client in general. They handle the communication, negotiate the rate, confirm the details, handle the payment a lot of the time. And they've already got relationships with venues and event planners, which is their biggest value. If a bar needs music every Friday night, they're not going to be scrolling through Instagram trying to find someone. They connect with their agent or an agent. The agent goes through their roster and fills those Friday night gigs. That's kind of how most gigs happen behind the scenes. So if you're thinking that an agent will find opportunities for you that don't exist, that's not going to happen. They will put you into gigs that already exist that they're trying to fill. How do they get paid? Well, a good agent will make money when you make money, or at least that's how it's meant to work. The standard cut for an agent is between 10 or 20%. 10% for regular bar gigs and up to 20% for weddings or corporate gigs where there's a lot more admin and a lot more communication involved. If, for example, an event is paying $1,000, the agent may take 15%. You take home $850 of that $1,000. Fair enough. They brought you the gig. It's $850 more than you would have had anyway. It's a definite red flag if an agent tries to charge you up front to get on their roster. If they're making money before you've even played any notes, they're not an agent, they're more of a salesperson, if anything. And if you pay them up front, there's no real urgency for them to fill you into any gigs because they've already been paid. A real agent earns with you and a dodgy one will earn off you. But we can talk about the dodgy ones in a minute. First up, let's talk about the pros, the positives of having a good agent. The main and the biggest positive about using a booking agent is they already have the network. They already have the relationships with venues, event planners, event companies, a wide array of different relationships that it would be really hard for you to start building on your own. And because of that, they can feed you multiple gigs and you can get gigs way more consistently just because they have a lot of connections. They'll know what venues will be willing to pay for things and then can sometimes get you a better rate because you're unsure about the current relationships that are going on. And one of my favorite things about a booking agent is they take the admin off your plate. The endless emails, the back and forths, the discussions of like minute things that we just move on from that. It gets rid of all of that. Any follow-ups, any invoices, you can just show up and play the gig. A good agent will send you through a full worksheet with all the details that they've collected from this venue over the period of time that they've been working with them so that you have exactly what you need in order to just quickly flick through the email. Cool. This is the parking situation. This is where the invoice goes. This is the set times. This is everything all there perfect. You don't have to think about any of it. You can just turn up and do what you like doing. Being represented by an agent with a positive reputation gives you more credit and makes you look more established, especially in the wedding and corporate world. The right agent doesn't just get you more gigs, they get you better gigs. And they can expand your reach and your reputation and hopefully your income too. And now the flip side, because there's a few. You lose a slice of every gig. And sometimes you think it's 10%, but you don't really know. You just know the agent is dealing with a venue and this is what they're willing to pay you. You hope that the booking agent is working in good faith and is only taking a 10%, but you can't guarantee that. And I've worked for some that definitely have taken more than that. And I've worked for some that have taking gigs from other booking agents, and therefore there's been multiple cuts being taken off it before it arrives at me. And I was young and I was fresh and new and playing at the scene, and so I didn't know any better. But now looking back, I was severely underpaid for those gigs. Another potential con is exclusivity contracts that some agents like. I think you should stay completely away from these. They're of no real benefit to you to be locked into one booking agent, especially if that means that any other gigs that you take or book yourself, they get a cut of as well. It's more of a management kind of thing. And if they're not really acting in your best interest, then you get stuck. I think overall you should steer away from exclusivity contracts just because they don't seem to be for your benefit. It's for their benefit more than yours. So I'd stay away. Another problem is you can just become another name on a huge roster. There's a bunch of agencies that I know that just sort of have everyone on their roster, and it's kind of, in doing so, they almost have no one. It's just because everyone's there. It's kind of a weird balance, but because they have so many people on their roster and they try to rotate through so many people, that nobody really gets consistent bookings through those agencies because they're trying to spread it across everybody. And the people who make the most noise about that will get booked more consistently, or the people who are willing to do it for a little bit cheaper and gets the agency a little bit more money will more likely also get booked a lot more. That kind of thing is really a pricing problem that I find in Sydney quite a lot. And I'm planning on doing another video on the pricing problems and about payments and things like that in the cover gig scene. And that video will come eventually, but it's hard to put into words how it all happens. But keep an eye out for that one. Communication with some agents can be terrible, actually terrible. For example, if you're playing a wedding, I've had one where I've had to stop working with an agent before because there was a wedding coming up and it was 4 days out from the wedding and I didn't even have the venue of the wedding. I didn't have any ceremony songs. I didn't really have any information, but I was booked in to play this wedding and I was constantly asking, I need to know what songs they want. I need to know where it is. I don't need just the region. I need to know where the venue is. I need to know what ceremony songs they want because I might need to learn them, things like that. And I just sort of cut ties with that agent. I was like, I cannot work with this. I cannot work with this because it reflects badly on me because I'm out of the loop in the communication. And so therefore the booking agent can then say, the musician didn't do it. I sent them everything. They didn't, that you don't have that buffer where you can be like, hey, I have no point of contact with them. And so my reputation gets damaged because of it, if you understand what I mean. So communication can be a bad thing, but it can be one of the strong suits. If a booking agent is good at communicating, then it's brilliant. But a bad communication from a booking agent is just so detrimental. And with some agents, money and payments can be a little difficult because they're waiting to get paid first and then they have to process it on their end, depending on how many people they have and how many things are moving within their company itself. It can take even longer for you to get paid. So that if you're looking at consistent payments, sometimes with some agencies, it can take a long time. And one of the worst things I find with a lot of booking agencies is that it is just filling the slots that they have. And it is a complete disregard for what your brand or your vibe or your style is. They just want to fill the gig. They just want to fill the quota. And so it can come to your detriment because they've put you in somewhere that doesn't fit. You turn up to, say, a classic rock, at pub scene and you play indie folk, you're going to be bouncing heads against the audience because you don't play what they want. And that's down to the booking agent. But the venue doesn't see it as the agent has messed up. They've seen it as you've turned up and not delivered on the brief. And so a lot of times, you can really, again, end up damaging your reputation because they just want to fill the slot. And this all brings it back to the question of, do you actually need a booking agent? If you're booking regular gigs, you've got a decent promo set up and you're looking to scale up and branch out a bit more, an agent can really help. Or if you're drowning in admin and you're chasing up invoices and having someone to take some of that workload, it might be worth the loss in percentage of your income. But do you actually need the booking agent? No, you don't need one, but one can be very, very helpful. There's arguments on either side of when you're starting out, whether you should use a booking agent or not. because the idea is if you can't sell yourself, then how's the booking agent meant to do it as well? But getting your foot in the door of a lot of venues that these booking agents have can then help you to build relationships and develop more on that sort of business end, marketing yourself kind of style. So if you're starting out and there's an opportunity for you to work with a booking agent to sort of allow you to concentrate on the more performing aspect of it and allowing you to generate better or more promotional material for them to use, and then for you to use in turn doing direct bookings yourself, I think is a good idea, but not necessarily a must. You don't have to be going, I have to have a booking agent. 3 that I use semi-consistently. Most of my gigs, 90+% of my gigs are booked direct. And then there's 3 agencies, I think, that I will work with time to time if something good comes up that I like the look of. But at the beginning, I was pretty much all of my gigs were through agencies, multiple agencies. And so I think that it's because I've come from that side of it that I think it could be good for people who are just starting out, because it gets you in a lot of venues that you maybe wouldn't even thought about, and it puts you in a lot of situations where you might be a little bit uncomfortable because it's not quite your style, but it's kind of, you need to get through a lot of those things just so that you develop as an artist. So do you need a booking agent? No. Is it helpful? Sometimes. Can you benefit from having one? Yes. It's one of those. But is it a necessity? Definitely not. If learning more about live performances and things like that is something that's important to you, I've probably got a video just here that will be good help to you. Or click any of the videos on the channel. They're all pretty good, I think.